Hey there, welcome back. In this lesson, you're going to learn the art and science behind good daily planning, another high-performance habit designed to help you turn your intention into effective action. Now, to give you a sense of just how valuable daily planning can be, I want to tell you a little story. In the early 1900s, a consultant named Ivy Lee walked into the office of Charles Schwab, then the richest man in the world, and said confidently, "I can help you get more done." Now, Schwab, the owner of Bethlehem Steel, one of the most important and powerful companies in the world, was intrigued. Always looking for an edge, he asked the consultant what he would do. Lee's answer surprised him. "Just give me 15 minutes with each of your executives." Skeptical, Schwab asked, "Well, what's this going to cost me?" And Lee answered, "Nothing, unless it works, and then you can pay me whatever you feel it's worth." With nothing to lose, Schwab agreed. Fast forward 3 months later. Schwab calls Lee back to his office and hands him a check for $25,000, the equivalent of over $600,000 today. So what was it that Lee did during those 15 minutes that proved so valuable? Well, simple. He taught them daily planning. Lee instructed the executives to do 3 things at the start of each day. First, he wanted them to make a list, to write down everything they had to accomplish that day. Next, he said, prioritize that list. Rank each task in order of their true importance. And then third, work each task in order. And he was explicit here, telling the leaders to move on to the next task only when they'd completed the higher priority item. In other words, no getting distracted by the whirlwind. That's it. That was Lee's entire instruction. But the executives bought in. And just a few weeks later, the value was being felt across the organization to the tune of over $500,000. So here's a question for you. How much value are you getting from your current daily planning process? If the answer is not very much, or even what daily planning process, then you're in for a treat here. Using Lee's approach as a starting point, we've developed a breakthrough daily planning process that will help you create more clarity and efficiency, achieve a higher level of performance, and more effectively manage your energy. Now, the process is simple. 9 questions that'll take you about 5 minutes to answer. To make it as easy as possible to follow along, we've organized these questions into a small worksheet. So let's walk through it. The first step in this process is to rewrite your personal core values. Remember, your values are your safety net. All good strategy and execution should start here. Next, you're going to assess your energy level. How are you feeling? Thumbs up, good to go, or thumbs down, in need of an energy boost? Now, it's no coincidence that this is the first question in the planning process. I think of energy as the lead domino, the most important leading indicator of the day you're about to have. If your energy level is good, if you're feeling physically well, you can do your best work. If your energy isn't good, it's going to make it all that much harder to do the hard work you want and need to do. Now, if you find yourself in that thumbs down zone for days in a row, take it as a signal that you've got to make some changes to how you're eating, sleeping, or working to better or more fully recover. All right, the next step in the planning process, gratitude. Identify one thing in your life for which you are deeply grateful. Harvard psychologist Sean Achor calls this our happiness advantage. His research shows that when we start by focusing on what we've got going for us, the good stuff in our life, it becomes easier to more constructively and creatively address the challenges or issues that we're facing. Now, a little pro tip when it comes to gratitude, allow yourself to feel it. For example, if you're grateful for, say, your children, take a second after you write that down to close your eyes and feel their little arms around your neck, picture their smile, hear their laugh. If you're grateful for your home, your job, even your cup of coffee, do the same thing. Remind yourself of what these things smell like, taste like, how they make you feel. Alternatively, imagine your life without the thing. A quick and powerful way to trigger that same feeling of gratitude and the biological and psychological response you're looking for from this exercise. All right, the next step in the planning process, recall yesterday's highlights. The big wins or the great small decisions. Any moment when you were at your best. Now, quick lizard brain check here. It can be tempting to skip this step, to tell yourself the story that you have too much to do today to waste any time celebrating wins from yesterday. Don't do that. Reminding yourself of yesterday's wins, even the small ones, is a simple yet powerful way to build a sense of progress in our life and to increase the desire and confidence to go out and win some more in the day to come. Now, a couple more questions to round out your review of yesterday. The first, how good a day was it? I want you to give yourself a score, 1 to 10, but no 7s. Now, this isn't a scientific assessment, just a good habit to get into. If you see a pattern of low scores day after day, it's a signal that something needs to change. The next question, how many hours of deep, focused work did you do? Deep work, a term popularized by the author Cal Newport, is defined as uninterrupted, highly focused time spent doing the hard work that moves you and your business forward. Given the highly distracted nature of our world today, Newport likens the ability to do deep work to a superpower, a skill that allows you to quickly master complicated information and produce better results in less time. I agree completely. And yet, deep work and the whirlwind are often mistaken. But here's a good way to think about it. Your whirlwind, this is the work you have to do to keep your current job. Deep work, on the other hand, is the work that you have to do to get your next job. Do you want to increase your energy and engagement at the office while at the same time accelerate your career trajectory? Simple. Do more deep work. And the best way to make that happen is start tracking just how much deep work you're doing on a daily basis. All right, one final reflection question to start the day. How could I have made it better? Identify one way in which you could have improved upon yesterday's results. Now, I learned the power of this question from investor Ray Dalio. For decades, his hedge fund, Bridgewater, has been among the most successful in the world, and he credits this question with his success. Here's how he puts it in his book, Principles. You don't learn from success, you learn from mistakes, because of the pain they cause. Mistakes plus reflection is where the growth comes from. In other words, pain plus reflection equals progress. Now, how you ask this question is up to you, but here are a few good prompts. What didn't happen that I hoped would? What mistakes did I make? When did I let fear hold me back? If I could do yesterday over, what would I change? Now, to be clear, this isn't about beating yourself up. It's just a candid reflection on where and how you could have achieved even better outcomes. Now, common answers here might include, I should have exercised. Maybe had one less glass of wine at dinner. I should have spent less time on Instagram. I could have been more patient with my colleague. I could have turned that meeting into an email. Anything goes here, but the idea is that we're simply learning from our experience from the day before to make the next day even better. All right, so that concludes the section of the planning process I call the morning review. Now, let's look to the day ahead. First, identify the most strategically important thing you can and will accomplish in the day ahead. Now, if you haven't yet completed your weekly commitment, that would go in this blue box, since you've already identified it via the commitment process as the most important strategic action or small outcome you're going to achieve. If you've already gotten that done for the week, then pick the next most important small action or outcome that moves you, your team, or the broader business forward. Once you've identified today's number one priority, then in the spirit of Ivy Lee, identify the next 3 most important things you need to get done in the day ahead. Now, many of the leaders with whom we work keep some sort of long-running to-do list type document. If that's you, great. Just review that list and simply pull off the 3 most important items every morning. This list may or may not include everything you can or plan to get done that day, and that's okay. The goal here is simply to answer the question, if I get nothing else done today, what must I do? Now, at the bottom of the worksheet, you'll see a simple yet profound quote from Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. Daily planning is such a habit. If you want to get your butt kicked every day, skip this step. Do what most executives do. Sit down at your desk, open your email, and take your chances. But if you want to dramatically improve the odds that you're going to have a great day, spend a few minutes at the start answering these 9 simple questions to set yourself up for success. And once you've done that, once you've answered the questions, a final step. Block time on your calendar to make it all happen. Remember, when you're fighting the whirlwind, if it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done. Any calendar tool will work, but this step is essential. Here are 2 best practices to get you started. The first, work in alignment with your energy. The majority of the world, 70%, are what behavioral scientists call larks, meaning that they're most energetic, creative, and productive in the morning. If that's you, leverage this. Before you check your email or schedule a team meeting, block at least 45 minutes on your calendar to get your top priority items started, if not done. The same goes for the owls, the 30% of the population that does their best work in the late afternoon, early evening. Whether you're a lark or an owl, plan your day to ensure that your most important work is getting done when you are at your most capable. The second best practice is to create daily recurring planners to protect and budget your time. While building new habits can be difficult, the use of recurring planners makes it a lot easier. Whenever you identify a consistent, essential activity or obligation that tends to happen every day or every week, for example, exercise, travel to and from work, team meetings, deep work, even lunch, block the time on your schedule. Once you've completed your daily planning for the day, then simply edit the existing planners already on your calendar. Edit the deep work placeholder with the specific item that you're going to work on during that time. Likewise, edit the personal development placeholder. Identify the specific skill you want to work on, or book or article that you want to read. Even go ahead and edit the lunch planner. Identify what you're going to eat and perhaps with whom. Blocking your calendar in this way does 2 important things. First, it protects deep work time from the whirlwind. Too often, we plan in our mind to do our deep work at a certain point in the day, and just as we're getting ready to do it, something or someone comes and pulls our attention elsewhere. By having the time blocked on our calendars in advance, we give ourselves a chance of sticking to the plan. Now, if you struggle to say no, even when you know you need to, remember this simple rule of thumb. It is very difficult to say no unless you have something else to which to say yes. Whether you're saying yes to getting your most important work done for the day or yes to getting home in time for dinner with your family, your colleagues and clients will take it in stride if you help them see the other side of the trade-off that they're asking you to make. Now, I mentioned there are 2 benefits of time blocking, and the second is that it simply sets you up for success. By accurately allocating time on the calendar for things like exercise, travel, lunch, you get a more realistic view on how much time you'll actually have to spend getting your most important work done. Now, speaking of expectations, one potential issue to consider. If everyone on your team watches this training and immediately starts blocking off their entire calendar, that would make it impossible to find time for unexpected yet important collaborative work. My suggestion? Discuss this with your manager and/or team. The goal here is to balance both predictability and flexibility. The predictability you need to get your most important work done, with the flexibility the team needs to react and respond when urgent issues arise. So again, I encourage you to bring this up with your manager and/or your team and discuss how you can create the predictability as well as the flexibility you all need to do your best work. All right, so that concludes our training on daily planning, one of our most important high-performance habits. As a next step, I want you to test the daily planning process for 1 week. Download the planning template in the download section of this lesson, block a few minutes on your calendar each day, and give it a try. If you like it, great. Keep it up. If it doesn't work quite as well as you'd like, that's okay. Just modify the structure and/or the questions to better meet your needs and style. To be clear, there is no right or wrong way to do a daily plan. The only way you can screw it up is by not doing it at all. As always, if you have any questions, simply email us at help@sandsleadership.com and we'll get back to you right away.